What's up, dudes? Let's take a look at the market action from today here. What is it? November 20th, 2025. About 40 minutes before market close right now. You see a QQQ is down, 1.6%. We got the Dow Jones only down 0.3%. SPY's down 0.8%. IWM down 1%. And ARKK down 2.7%. Got the SMH now leading the charge down 3.4%, trading at low of day. Nvidia now down 2%. And gonna be focused on kind of the action from some of the AI leaders. Palantir, I mean, this is down 5% right now, and then like I said, of course, Nvidia reversing its entire earnings move. So on the left side of my screen, I got the daily. Right side of my screen, I've got the intraday time frames, whether it be hourly, 30-minute, 10-minute, what have you. But so started the day off with a gap up, and I was, to be honest, I was thinking that it was going to be more action like this Monday here, or I was at least open to that possibility for the most part. And early in the day it really looked like that. If you look at Monday, we traded very similarly, right? Large gap up, kind of pulled back a little bit at open, remounted the VWAP, and trended higher into the close, and we were above the 20 MA at the time. And we had that action to start the day. However, the 20 MA sloping down. We've essentially got a bearish launch pad right here. And what I mean by bearish launch pad is we've got all the moving averages above price curling down on top of them. And no matter what, that makes for a tricky environment. You add in the added volatility with the VIX being at, what is it at now, almost 30, 25. We got to 28 earlier this morning, pulled back into 25 right now. It creates for some trappier action, some trickier action. I sent out a tweet which I actually thought was really profound. No one seemed to laugh as much as I did, but I talked about the 5 T's of a volatile market. It's a little play on the dodgeball line, which the 5 T's of volatile markets are tease, trap, trick, tempt, and tease. And that's essentially kind of what we got here. We got teasing for excitement around Nvidia's earnings. We got trap. You trapped any bulls long from Tuesday or Wednesday, or even after hours yesterday. It tricked people to thinking that we were saved after Nvidia's earnings, and kind of an event has passed. And then it tempts you into getting involved, thinking that the pullback at the time is over. And then of course tease again, right? It teases you like, oh, the red to green spot's gonna hold. Oh, down here at the lows, oh, we undercut 10-10 lows, we undercut the weekly lows, whatever. So yeah, tease, trap, trick, tempt, and tease is the 5 T's of a volatile market. And I think I'm gonna coin that. I think we're gonna talk about that regularly from now on going forward. Anywho, bottom line is, I'm going to read a few posts and some insights that I think are really profound. And, I think if you internalize them, and, maybe they're kind of experience based versus, wanting action. Maybe I'm kind of an old head or whatever in the game. I don't seem to think so. I'm a young guy. You can see me. I'm a young strapping young boy. Anywho, but when crap like this occurs, I just want to watch, right? I've made money during these periods. I've lost money during these periods. I've captured trapped moves on the upside and the downside. I've called bottoms, and I've picked bottoms, and called tops in the past. And also I've been very wrong many times at trying to do that, right? And I've found it to be not just detrimental sometimes to your account, but really detrimental to your mental, right, to your energy, to your confidence at times, for there for when you're wrong. Like I said, the trap and trick and tease and tempt can lead to some angst, some frustration, and being off sides, and that's never fun, right? You have to be very on your game in order to handle that. Sometimes, compare that to, I sent out another post that this past 1 minute candle, some random 1 minute candle, in early in the afternoon, and that 1 minute candle was the entirety of the average daily range on the Qs from July to about September, right? When the Qs were moving, what, $2, $3, $4 a day. And in 1 minute, a variety of 1 minute candles on the Qs today, we were getting that entirety of that range that we used to get on some daily candles back in June, July, August, and September, right? So, given that, and, just given the performance and the ease of ideas from back during this time, just solidify the ability to sidestep some of this action. And, we wrote up in Sunday Scans, whether it's, just simply the 20 EMA, right? Being involved when the 20 EMA is rising and prices above it, and not being involved when the 20 EMA is declining and prices below it. It can literally be as simple as that, right? Where you can wait. I mean, imagine sidestepping all of this, which, we did really well earlier in the year in February down into April, and waiting for us to remount the 20 EMA. Right? All of a sudden, you get back involved in some things. You start to pay attention. You start to look for setups. We get our low below the 20 EMA. We get the 20 EMA to cross above the 50 SMA. We get price to break through the 200 SMA. Right? There's all these things that just positive occur. More trend behavior, more setups, more stocks joining the party. And right now we just have, the exact opposite of that, quite frankly. And, I want to read this post that I had. Is, like I said earlier in this video, I said that I've traded through all of these corrections, over the past X amount of time, and each one, they're becoming easier to sit through and do nothing, and each one I'm making more and more money, and I'm performing better and better exponentially on the other side in picking stocks, in identifying setups, identifying leaders, and participating in them and holding them, right? So here's what the tweet says, which I'll pull down here. For me, it was always the hardest to adapt after trading through a correction in the market. So I stopped. I'd be late. I'd need broader consolidation in the market, and I'd miss some of the leaders on the first or second leg. So I adjusted. I simplified my market approach. I remained patient and considered how easy it was to make money after a follow through day, after we remounted the 20 MA, and after 3 consecutive lows above the 20 MA, among other things. Now, there's a calmness, a patience that is solidified in confidence, knowing my willingness and ability to capitalize when the stars align afterwards. The best time to make money in stocks is when things go from bad to not so bad. And of course, during euphoric periods as well. The hardest part to trade are when we see minimal setups on our watch list and when stocks are below the 20 MA. So until then, I wait, recharge, and prepare. And it's not just, me, I'm just some, random guy on the internet, right? But I've traded through these. I know a lot of you guys have as well. So let's take a very simplified approach to this. And, if this is not your thing, if you shred during these periods, if you can see this trap and you can see us taking out the lows, taking out the VWAP, and you want to ride some, zero dated put options or SQQQ or, whatever it is, then hell yeah, man. If that is your core strategy that you're dedicated to, if your business model that you're trying to emulate while trading says that this is my day to take action, then absolutely, right? But if your strategy says that you want to participate when there are themes and leaders and themes and leaders present, and buying them on pullbacks to the moving averages, and seeing them gap up on earnings and consolidate and hold bullish open gaps, and look for low risk, high reward setups in a low volatility environment on the indexes where individual stocks have the ability to stand out and distinguish themselves, then right now there is absolutely nothing to do. And for a period there this morning, it was like, dang, we're gapping up like 2%. We're past Nvidia's earnings, it's gapping up. We're back through this, like almost through this 195 high from back here on 1010. Man, if we can hold this, maybe push a few days, consolidate, build out a higher low, things are going to look, pretty solid in the market. It's going to look like it was just, a couple months a couple weeks, correction. It's going to look like, these, high beta stocks. I'm just going to pull up OKLO, right? It's like going to look like these high beta stocks just had, a large correction, and we're going to be able to, pick out some new leaderships and new merchandise to perform in. That's just not the case, because when you look at the scans, I mean, things like Palantir look like they're headed towards the 200-day moving average. Things like Netflix, right, are rejecting below their 200-day moving average and breaking down for the first time since since late 2023 when this rally started. Things like Spotify as well, right? The list does go on into more names, but we don't need to go through each individually. There's more and more I suppose leadership to the downside right now than there is fresh merchandise to choose from, and that's okay, right? That keeps that keeps me patient and ready to get involved when that starts to show up, because I sent this message out many times in the Discord, again, in July, in August, September, October, which was, guys, appreciate these times, enjoy it, push it. When you see a setup and you see your signal, take action, right? Honor your stops, manage your risk, trail your winners, cut your losers quickly, but take action and enjoy these times in trading, because there's going to be periods, possibly soon, possibly later, that there's going to be nothing to do, that there's going to be these questions, concerns, wonders, and worries about where the next opportunity is. And if you know that you capitalize properly during the easy environment, it makes sitting out and staying patient so much easier, right? And if you didn't capitalize, then this is the time to refine and get specific in what you want to do. This is the time to write down your rules, write out your business plan for how you want to manage your account, how you want to interact with the market on a day-to-day basis, and dedicate yourself to that strategy. Because if you're not going to put in that work before we get that follow through day, before we remount the 20 MA, before we flush out, whatever the hell needs to happen, capitulation, blah, 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 then you're not going to be ready, right? And broadly speaking, there's going to be a lot of opinions, okay? It's going to be noisy. It already is, and has been for a while, right? Broadly speaking, it is my opinion that we'll be in a run-of-the-mill correction, whether it's 8%, 10%, whatever it is on the market. These periods occur, okay? The world is not ending. There's nothing, all the stuff in the background, all the noise that you're going to hear is essentially worthless if you don't have a dedicated approach and strategy. That is literally the only thing that matters, is control what you can control, which is what you buy, when you buy, how much you buy, and when you sell. Okay? And you have to have a criteria in which you implement, or an environment in which you implement that controlled behaviors. Okay? Otherwise, we're just running around guessing and gambling on what the next move's going to be, where it's going to come from, and you'll be a step behind. And you wonder why people are performing and excelling and you're still left in the mud. So there's a call to action for the people who are motivated, for the people who are still watching this video right now. You're the ones that are ready to take the steps necessary to become the trader that I know that you know you can be, right? And that only comes through the decision to specify your strategy and dedicate yourself to it. I'm supposed to say that there's like links down there, whatever. Go ahead. We're on Zoom all the time. And if you're in the Discord, please reach out to me over the weekend if you need to. You want to talk about stocks, you want to talk about what you're trading. If you want to help write a template for that strategy or for your rules, you guys have my phone number. You can reach out to me at any time. You have my DMs, whatever. Let's get to work now so we're ready as hell for when we can rip these markets again. Man, we're making new lows into the close. All right, hold on to your butts there, bros, lady bros, bracos. All right, I'll catch you guys this weekend.